You hear the laughter before you reach the podium. The three men are, as usual, engrossed in the game before them. You can see the tall figure of Lao studying the board, and Shu laughing as Jin pouts in his corner. The only tension in the air is between Shu and Jin, mostly Jin, but despite their ongoing rivalry, they both seem relaxed, carefree. Like the weight of a great burden has finally disappeared, allowing them to savor the thing that makes them happy. This game isn't over yet, you old fart. You just watch, I'll make a comeback so beautiful that it'll make you weep. Jim stomps his foot for emphasis, or perhaps out of frustration. Let's see it then, I love a good comeback. At once the men shift their attention to you. An array of emotions pass through them, from Jin's eyes rose to Lao's stalwart nod. Shu claps his hands together, cheeks flooding with red. Ah, SCKC. I have the urge to hug you, but I doubt these old bones could withstand your embrace, so good of you to visit us old men again. Had any dreams lately? Shu leans forward. I have. Jin and Lao look nervously at him. Shu continues. It was terrible, even worse than before. I was standing here, and the sun was beginning to set. It was red like blood, and cast a rippling red reflection off of the water. I became lost in the reflection, as if all my senses left me, and suddenly I was filled with a sense of foreboding. I broke through the spell and turned back to the game, and Jin had won! He burst into laughter. Jin reaches over the game board and whacks him. God damn it, you badger, you really had me going there. I thought that we were done with those accursed dreams. Done. You haven't had any dreams then. If by dreams you mean exquisite visions of buxom geriatric woman, then absolutely. Jin crosses his arms, but beyond that, no. The only nightmare I've had recently was about my hair falling out. Shu shrugs, and that's happening already. Jin scowls at Shu, then turns his head towards Lao. What about you, Master Lao? A smile touches Lao's lips. My evenings have been peaceful. No dreams of the past, the present, the abstract or macabre. Just dreams of Go. The other two look at him and nod their heads in agreement. Shu speaks slowly. We've been on this earth for a great many years now. Some have been good, some bad. But of all the things I'm most thankful for, it's your good company and our games of Go. I've got to ask, why do you two keep calling Lao Master? You're his seniors. Shu and Jin exchange a look. They glance between you and Lao before Jin finally leans forward and speaks to you in a low voice. Because, SCKC, Master Lao is an Arcadian prince! What? Jin snaps up straight, confused. You senile. Shu can't contain himself. His breaths come out in rasp, and it looks as if he might inhale his beard from the intensity of his laughter. Lao's otherwise indifferent face betrays him as the corners of his mouth draws upwards in an amused grin. He coughs into his sleeve, and his collected demeanor returns. It looks like he's struggling to keep a straight face, though. Jin's upper lip curls in annoyance as he watches them. He flicks his wrist dismissively. Yeah, you can both kick it for all I care. So if Lao's a prince, does that make you two his fools? No! The force of Jin's statement only fuels Shu's laughter. He speaks between breaths. I'm sorry, Jin, I am. Sorry for you, such an old pooter. His laugh subsides and Shu beams at you. Tell me, how old do you think we are, Jin and I? Man, I don't know. Old. Well, you'd be right there, but consider this. Master Lao is even older than old. Now that you mention it, there is something different about the way he carries himself. Shu pauses for a moment, strokes his beard. He seems to be considering how to proceed. When he finally speaks, his voice is slow and thoughtful. The three of us chose to follow our passions. Our young friend here worked long, hard hours and was clever in business. In the end, he earned a fortune sufficient to buy back his lost youth. Jin and I pay him respect because he's our senior, and because he's the one man among us who was wise enough to invest in his youth, so to say. He bought back his lost youth? It's called Leonization. The edge in Jin's voice is gone. We are lucky that our friend still joins us for Go. He could be out climbing mountains or building his empire or whatever your kids do these days. Instead, he contents himself providing us geezers his good company. The facade works in my favor. Occasionally, these two forget I'm decades their older, and they get cocky in our games. As expected, an unexpected but welcome side effect of my treatments. Lao's dark eyes sparkle inside his otherwise unreadable face. Alright. So he had anti-aging treatments. I always knew that you were a cheat. At least you and I can enjoy it while you are harassed by waiters at the pancake hut. Jin smiles wickedly and looks at you. Has to convince them he is eligible for the senior buffet every time. Wait a minute. But if you've had your age reversed, should you still qualify for the senior discount? You shouldn't, right? Take care, you know, goods. Loud nods. We'll be seeing you soon. So Lao is older than the two of them. Alright, can we talk to Matthew now? Reliable Matthew stands in the middle of his drone barge. The downpour has scoured the barge, but otherwise everything appears surprisingly intact. Most of his drones are still present, and even his balloons still float, sluggishly. As always, he's grinning, languid, and frayed around the edges, like a primped debonnaire sweating out a quart of alcohol from the night before. Good morning, beautiful. Welcome back to the robot paradise. How did your balloons survive a typhoon? He holds a single index finger up in the air emphatically. Science! Picking up a loose washer off the deck, he flicks it at a balloon. It bounces off the balloon with a low thunk. The balloon hardly moves. They're full of aerogel. Love those lighter than air solids. He winks. Oh, they're solid? Lighter than air solids. Okay. Your drones seem to be mostly here. He shrugs. I'm a lucky sort of guy, what can I say? Guess people were just trying to take care of themselves, not take another man's stuff. You have any thoughts about what happened? He shakes his head emphatically several times. Something happened? Oh, it was just a wild night. Real wild night. What a time. He looks around intensely, looks up at the walled city for a moment, shudders visibly, and turns away. Good times. Alright, goodbye. He smiles balefully at you, eyes bright and cold. It's been a pleasure. Alright, dude. I still have his chips. The game still doesn't let me give him his chips back. Alright, let's chat with Kindly. The commotion from the streets of Hioi bleeds into Kindly Cheng's mahjong parlor. Triad soldiers bustle to keep up with their boss's orders. Couriers come in regularly, whispering to her lieutenant before listening intently and running off again. Alright. There's a bunch of dudes in here. Hey, where's... Oh, Kindly's over here? Why is she over here? As you enter, Kindly Cheng is giving instructions to Strangler Bao, who nods enthusiastically. She looks over at you and holds up a hand. Wait. And send Wong and Ho to snatch some of those medical supplies off the relief trucks. With all the excitement, nobody's watching them at all. She nods to herself, grimacing in satisfaction. There'll be a big black market for them over the next few weeks. Good thinking, Mrs. Cheng. Bao lifts a finger to his ear to transmit the orders. When he sees you waiting, he inclines his head a quarter of an inch. SCKC, I figured you were dead. It's not that easy to kill me, kindly Cheng. Last I heard, my soldiers had found you and everyone was heading into the walled city. Then things got out of control. She takes a pull on her thin black cigar. Where are my people? What the hell happened? They're dead. You really stealing medical supplies, Auntie? Yeah, no. We got separated in the walled city. Found out later they were dead. They were killed. Did we? We didn't find them killed, did we? No, no, we didn't. Like, we went in first. They were following us. And then by the time we got to Tianya, Raymond and Duncan and Gorbert caught up with us, but the other guys were not, and they never told us what happened to them. The game never told us what happened to them. We got separated in the walled city, found out later they were killed. Her eyes are hard little black buttons. Is that how you treat my resources? I didn't do anything to them. Please accept my apologies, Mrs. Cheng. They died for a good cause. Looks like business is up these days. You'll make up the loss. Soldiers die, that's what they're for. Why is she mad? I didn't do anything. Hey, I fixed whatever... I fixed it. I got rid of the Yama King in the walled city, kindly check. Please accept my apologies, Mrs. Cheng. They died for a good cause. Looks like business is up these days. You make up the loss. Soldiers die, that's what they're there for. I mean, first of all, I didn't ask for them to come with us. Kindly sent them in. I didn't want them to come with us. Secondly, it wasn't under my control. Like, it was out of my control. I don't like any of these answers. They died for a good cause. Looks like business. Could I have done anything to have saved them? Like, if I... Is it because I didn't clear out the ambush? If I cleared out the ambush, would they have survived? The game doesn't communicate this, so I actually have no idea what happened. Is it because I skipped one of the battles? Anyway, I don't care about this. Like, none of this makes sense to me. She takes another drag off her cigar, exhales the smoke through her nose, so you do have something to apologize for. I didn't get your men killed, Auntie. I was just trying to be respectful of your loss. I didn't get your men killed, Auntie. She taps her ash on the floor. Well, they knew the risks. They had a shot at moving up and they missed. Forget them. Okay. Alright. I've got bigger problems, like customers and tenants streaming out of the walled city, screaming for their lives. Like the Hong Kong police force and those Sang security shitheads swarming the place. She drops the stub of her cigar in an ashtray. Now tell me what happened in the walled city, or do I have to get an acetylene torch and ask nicely? Raymond Black accidentally summoned a demon god. We had to put her down. It was a family matters taken care of. A new tenant tried to move in, the big bad terrifying kind from another dimension. Kindly Cheng's eyes get big at that. What kind? A Yama King. Tian Ya, the queen with 1,000 teeth. Never heard of her. She picks up her bottle of foul spirits and studies the label. Her rusty, mean voice drops low. But I know the Yama Kings. My grandmother used to try to scare me with stories about them. I guess that she thought she was teaching me something by scaring the shit out of me. She chuckles softly. I remember one Yama specifically, Fu Mang, the serpent of the setting sun. Oh yes. Fu Mang promised wealth and influence for those willing to do what was necessary to take it. Her voice turns wistful. The story of Fu Mang spoke to me. All he asked for in return were 44 hearts pulled from the chests of those closest to you while they were still alive. Hearts from random victims wouldn't do, so those who took Fu Man's bargain would befriend others before taking their hearts, turning their entire network into a list of victims. Yes, Fu Man spoke to me, but I didn't listen. Strangler Bao leans in, his finger to his ear. My apologies, Mrs. Cheng, but one of the men you sent with the runners into the walled city is still alive. He stumbled into Wong and Ho as they were pulling medical supplies off a lorry. Oh, still alive. Cheng turns to you with an edge in her voice. At least one came back alive. I don't know what happened to them. Strangler Bao lowers his head, listens to his earpiece again. Our man says that Wong Lun Fat is dead. He got shot up by the Hong Kong police force inside the walled city. Bao lifts his head and makes eye contact with the Triad boss. He is almost salivating with avarice. Our man saw it with his own eyes, Mrs. Cheng. Our man says Wong Lun Fat is dead. He got shot up by Hong Kong. Saw it with his own eyes. With his own eyes, is that important? Oh yes, very important. It means I have verification from a trusted man. Wong Lun Fat was my superior in the Yellow Lotus A438. Kindly Cheng black button eyes sparkled with satisfaction born of malice. He was also a pig. Tell our friend SCKC what that means, Mr. Bao. A wolfish smile spreads across her face, and her eyes squeeze into crescent moons of pleasure. And say it slow so I can savor it. The death of Wong Lun Fat has opened a spot for you to move up, madam. You could be the next 438. Bao smiles. The effect is chilling. Oh no! Strangler Bao smiles. That's like the first time he's ever smiled in his entire life. It's terrifying. The gods help those who seize opportunities. Isn't that the first time he smiled in the entire game? Mr. Bao, put every man we have on this. Spread the word. Kindly Cheng says all debts to the Yellow Lotus are suspended for citizens of the walled city until order is restored, and no interest will compound either. Tell them that I have medical supplies too, and there will be no charge for them until the crisis is over. You're a pillar of the community. Don't be snide, Isikaze. You don't want to blow my good mood. She raises her voice so the triads in the room can hear her. The citizens of the walled city need clarity and reassurance. The Yellow Lotus will provide that for them. I may not have brought Josephine Sang down, but I've got my career going again. She grabs a bottle and unscrews the cap with her thumb. Your career too, Mr. Bao. You'll be my new straw sandal. Good partners support one another. Bao lowers his head in respect. You have proven that, Mrs. Cheng. This calls for a drink. The soon-to-be 438 pours 2 shots and the stink of kerosene stabs your nose like a switchblade. She hands a glass to Bao, touches it with her own, and holds it there. Your loyalty and clear-headedness have proven immensely valuable, Mr. Bao. You are an effective ally, and I wish you great wealth and good fortune. They down the foul substance in one gulp. Looks like you two are moving up in the world. Yes, yes, and it appears your fortune is changing too, SCKZ. She pours herself another drink and leaves it sitting on the table. Remember, you have a mysterious benefactor, one who lifted the APB on you. Any idea who that might be? I don't have a clue, and I must admit that bothers me. It must be somebody powerful. I can't imagine it was so Josephine Sang. After all, what would her motivation be? It's got to be someone else. Would it be Josephine Sang? We literally took her son from her building. after killing a bunch of her guards. And then we brought her son into the walled city, and now he's lost forever in the realm of Tianya. Um, yeah, well, it's not like I've made a lot of friends since we hit town. I'll tap my network, find out if I can. Kindly pulls out another thin black cigar, but that's for later. I'm missing an entire piece of your story, my darling. What happened at Prosperity Tower? Did you rescue Raymond Black? Did his mother wipe his memory? We got him. Stopped his mother from wiping his memory. Impressive. You have become quite a Shadowrunner, SCKC. She lights the cigar, a gleam of hunger in her shiny black eyes. Wow, you were in Prosperity Tower. Did you find any incriminating data on Josephine Sang? Dirt, something I can use. Was I supposed to find something? Like, I looked. Sorry, Auntie, Prosperity Tower was just too hot. All this bullshit and I don't get anything. You get the walled city. You get Qianya not coming out into this realm and eating your face. She grabs a handful of mahjong tiles and drops them onto the table one by one. Fine, no sense crying over that. I have business to do. I need to focus on bringing order back into the walled city and prestige to the Yellow Lotus. That will cement me in my new position. Now, before I get back to business, I must know, how did you go from rescuing Raymond Black to the walled city vomiting people? Ray built a machine in the walled city. It accidentally summoned the big bad thing. That's when everyone ran. Ray made a magical fortune machine, but it suffered from a demon summoning glitch. The Triad boss cocks her head, raises her cigar to her lips. If the demon summoning was accidental, what was this machine supposed to do in the first place? It created fortune. I shouldn't tell her that. Because it didn't create fortune, it manipulates fortune. It created fortune. Your foster father created a magical fortune machine? The Triad boss cocks her head, raises her cigar to her lips. Please tell me you have control of this device. Please tell me you brought it to me. It was supposed to create fortune. It didn't work. It created negative chi instead. So I don't suggest you use the machine. I don't suggest you bring it to Hioi, and I don't suggest you turn it on, because the thing creates negative chi, not positive chi. It doesn't work. Nope, sorry. That's a pity. I'm sure there are plenty of people who could benefit from it. I can't believe the game doesn't let me just tell this to her. You know why the walled city was so terrible? It's because the machine didn't work. Well, this business has certainly proved lucrative for me. Kindly Cheng studies the glowing tip of her black cigar. I'm in prime position to be the next Yellow Lotus 438, and I only lost 4 men. Yeah, well, Raymond didn't make it. He sacrificed himself to stop the demon. Did he? Maybe that's what he came to do. It was. She lowers her eyes and her voice softens. Everyone makes their choices, my sweet, and everyone pays the consequences, even you someday. You've made quite a splash since arriving in Hong Kong, SCKC. Many shadow runs completed in a very short time. The reports from our clients are glowing, mostly. Oh, does the game keep score? Does the game keep track of, like, whether your clients are happy? You can add closing the door on a demon goddess to the list. We made a difference. Perhaps for some, for a while. The Triad boss leans in, her voice conspiratorial. Listen to me, my sweet. When I was a girl, there had never been a pandemic like Vita's. But in 2010 it happened. We'd never seen death like that. A quarter of the world's population disappeared. It was miserable. It pushed us to our limits, but the survivors moved on. And then the spike babies started appearing, and the dwarf babies, and then suddenly there were dragons and globalization and magic. And every time the world changed, we got used to it. So if a demon goddess decided that the walled city was her new living room and you didn't, whatever you did, what would have happened? She shrugs, sniffs. Perhaps the news would cover it until the next sensation pulled their attention away, but after a while it would be drowned out by all the other crap competing for our attention. Yes, but you would be dead, kindly Cheng. The demon would literally be right next door to you and she would eat your face. I saved you. Unbelievable. And the demon in the walled city would become the new normal. Okay. The demon would be in your house. Well, the new normal is that the walled city isn't under magical influence anymore. Congratulations, the poor can return to their misery with no interference from magical machines or big bad things because of you. Now let me give you a piece of advice for the future, my sweet. Something Mr. Cheng used to tell me. Respect ghosts and gods, but keep away from them. It sounds like you almost lost your ass in the walled city. I think you best listen to that. So there is a Mr. Cheng. Kindly smiles mischievously. There may have been many Mr. Changs, my darling. None have lasted long. Okay. She stubs out her cigar, screws the top back on the bottle. Now get some sleep, SCKZ. You look like shit. Tomorrow we'll talk about the future. Bed sounds good. Kindly Cheng doesn't respond, she's already moved on. Bow, what's the status on those medical supplies? This freaking game. Alright, they are going back to our boat.